We turn now to the Russian invasion of Ukraine and the situation at the border with other neighboring countries. For more on that, we turn to Mircea Vricin, the Honorary Consul of Romania to U.S., Utah. Hey, great to have you on the show. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having us to discuss about this very unfortunate situation that's happening at the border.
No doubt about that. You hosted the Romanian Ambassador to the U.S. here in the state of Utah during the week. What was the purpose of that visit?
We were talking about, coming over to the state of Utah to literally just strengthen collaboration and relationships and partnerships. Romania, President Bill Clinton in 1997 went over to Bucharest, Romania, and signed a strategic partnership with Romania that included, besides, military and safety and defense and security, economic, educational, research, cultural partnerships. And Romania at the time did not know much about it, was very excited. And we worked through it. In 2004, Romania became a NATO country, which was another great progress for Romania. And basically, this year, we're celebrating 25 years from signing the strategic partnership with America under President Bill Clinton in 1997. So his purpose was to come and celebrate that and then talk about the situation that is happening in our region. And that was what we visited.
So we'll dig into that a little bit more, the situation, but first talk about who you met with.
So we had the tremendous visits. We visited with the Lieutenant Governor. We visited with the President of the Utah Senate and leadership from the Senate and the House. We visited with many local businesses that are interested in doing business in Romania through the World Trade Center and the Chamber of Commerce. We also visited with Attorney General Sean Reyes and many other businesses interested in supporting the situation that is happening in Romania.
And what is the message you're receiving from those individuals?
We receive a tremendous message. I think everybody's worried and concerned, but probably nobody really realized. Obviously, everybody knows that there is a major concern in regards to refugees coming over, but nobody really probably understood or grasped the situation that is happening, in particular in Romania. Obviously, from the Baltic Sea to the Black Sea, the border of Ukraine. There are several countries, Romania, Hungary, Poland, and other countries have received in a course of 12 days, just to measure that, 2.5 million refugees. 2.5 million refugees. United States last year, throughout the whole year, we got 2 million refugees coming through the southern border. And Romania and those countries got 2.5 million in 12 days. So
that puts it in a very interesting perspective, no doubt. So what's going on at the border with Romania and Ukraine when you talk about those refugees fleeing into the country? Paint the picture for us. What's happening?
It is a tragic situation. There, in a course of 2 weeks, there's been over 500,000 people that crossed the border. And what we think is, maybe the first wave were people with means. A lot of people probably had resources. They went on, to maybe they had family in other parts of Europe. So Romania was a transition. But over 100,000 of those are in Romania, stationed in Romania. And the situation is tragic. The Romanian government and we created a hub in Romania, up in the northern part of the country, to help with humanitarian aid and all the help them with food and housing and everything possible. And then
because they're coming over with pretty much nothing.
Pretty much nothing. Yes, it is a very tragic situation. But more than that, what's even more tragic is, in many cases, there are mothers and children and their grandmothers, because the man stayed in Ukraine to fight. So that makes it even harder for everyone. And, they don't speak the language, so there's a lot of things happening. But what's the message that the ambassador and I had, obviously, is this situation is tragic and it's imminent. It's happening very fast right in front of us. But this is not going away anytime soon. So we need to look at what's going to happen in a month, what's going to happen in 3 months, in 6 months. A lot of the Romanians, took in their homes, families and children and mothers, but they can't live in somebody's home for an extended amount of time. So we're trying to gain support from Utah to help us with know-how and experience in how do you how do you deal with such a harsh reality of humanitarian crisis, and maybe for the long run, maybe there are some training opportunities, some opportunities to cooperate between Utah and Romania to deal with this crisis.
Yeah. I want to ask you about the feeling in Romania as to the Russia invasion. Where does it end? Are you fearful that President Putin could then go beyond other borders into neighboring countries in the region as well, or will it stop in Ukraine?
The feeling is grim. It is a very real situation, right? Romania went away. Communism broke in 1989, so 30 years later, you're reliving some of the situation. Chernobyl, nuclear plant had the explosion just before that, and that also created a lot of, problems in the region. So this is a very, very tough time for Romania, for everyone, really for the entire world. But the Romanians are fearful, yes. There is a very real possibility that this does not stop at the border with Ukraine. It could go into other places and escalate really fast. And
so on that note, what are you thinking about the response from allies? President Zelensky addressing U.S. Congress on Wednesday. How are allies responding? Are they doing what they should, or should they be doing more?
Honestly, I think history will be a judge of that. I think hearing from some of the people that worked in past administrations in 2008 when Russia invaded Georgia, or 2014 when they invaded Ukraine, what we hear is that we should have done more. I read today that UK Prime Minister said we should have done more in 2014. I hope that this is not one of those times where we look back and we say the same thing, that we hope we should have done more.
Talk about the resolve of the Ukrainian people and what you were seeing. You talked about many of them staying to fight for their homeland, their country. Tell us about the Ukrainian people and what you were seeing out of them.
Well, we're just, I'm so speechless personally of the determination, to defend freedom. That's what's happening, is they really are fighting for their freedom, and literally to some degree for the freedom of the world, Western countries, if this doesn't stop at the border. So we're just so proud of what's happening, the resilience, and I am very proud of the Romanian people, regular people helping with the refugees crisis in Romania, and the Romanian government stepping up, and certainly even here in Utah, as Governor Cox has, with several other leaders, has started and started an initiative, raise money and funds and certain things to send over, and I've been in collaboration with them to help them with the Romanian presidency to find reputable NGOs that can help on the ground, that are already helping and doing things on the ground. And we really hope that more help comes out of Utah, can be a leader in this regard, and we're hoping. So
we have about 30 seconds left. How can people watching this right now, what can they do to help?
I think right now, if anybody's interested to help, they can certainly reach out to me, and then I can connect people with the embassy with Romania. They can certainly reach out to our to the fund that has been established through Spencer, to our Governor Spencer Cox. But there is a lot of need in Romania. I have been getting a lot of calls from locals here in Utah to help, and that is just heartwarming. And
a lot of people want to do what they can.
Absolutely,
here, for sure.
And we're very appreciative of all the efforts that are happening here in Utah.
All right, Mircea, so glad to have you on the show. Interesting perspective. Thanks for being here with us.
Thank you so much.
Stay with us. We'll be right back with more insight.